Yo, what's up, Blackish fam? I hope all is well in your corner of the world. Man, we're going to continue diving into MF Doom. Really kind of upset I'm just now getting on the MF Doom bandwagon, and I understand that he's passed. We're going to continue diving into his work. A lot of people on the channel have suggested I get into MF Doom. We did Figaro, and now we're going to get right into beef rap. I think I saw that Most Def, he spoke on this, which was one of my first introductions to MF Doom. And for those that might be new to the channel, I loved hip hop growing up, but it just got watered down and mumble rap, and it got too fake gangsterish. And I went to blues and jazz for a few years, and really it was a detailed hip hop class that I took at NIU, Northern Illinois University, that really got me back into it. And I started doing these breakdown videos. At first, it was part of a class, and then I just kind of continued with it. I've always been someone that loves old school references and Trivial Pursuit, and I kind of like the puzzle of putting together really complex rhymes like Aesop Rock or Toby Wigway or Marlon Craft or Lupe Fiasco or J. Cole, Childish Gambino. We're just starting to build a folder for MF Doom, and without further ado, let's get right into beef raps. Now, I was really surprised that there wasn't an official video for this, so I chose one of these kind of highlight videos. It looks a little whack, but if the lyrics are right and it assists with the breakdown, let's check it out. I'm here for it. Let's get to it. Okay, he's got a little intro, a little skit.
They must work faster.
But the prisoner.
Ah, yes. The young traitor who is trying to turn my...
Reminds me of some old Wu-Tang.
Watch him. I have special plans for that one.
Beef rap could lead to getting teeth capped or even a reef from armed dudes on some beef crap.
Ooh, let me see what he's already said so much. I didn't expect that. He said beef rap could lead to getting your teeth capped, right? So getting capped, he's obviously talking about getting shot in the hood because you're beefing with someone. But I just wanted to call out there's different ways. Getting capped means something different at different parts in society, right? Because if you're a tagger, right, there's a lot of cats that where I'm from in Chicago that they're considered some tagging, graffiti artists, if you would. And getting capped means something different, or at least it did back in the day. And then when I was a college student and they talk about getting capped, they were talking about getting their cap for actually finishing and graduating with their 4-year degree. But this means something different. I think we can all agree that in the hood, getting capped is not a good thing. You're getting shot because you beefed with the wrong person or you started some shit. You fucked around and found out, right? And he's playing it off getting your teeth capped. The teeth cap, easiest way to say that is it's a dental crown. It could be temporary, but then it transitions to a permanent way of covering a tooth to prevent it from continuing to decay. So you get a really good tooth, basically a front that lasts for a long time. So that's where the wordplay is on getting your teeth capped versus getting capped and getting your dome shot, right?
Could lead to getting teeth capped or even a reef from armed dudes on some beef crap.
Ooh, love it. He's going old school with it. He said Mom Dukes. See, in Chicago, in the Midwest, you don't really hear that. You hear Big Mama. A lot of you guys might get the reference from the Martin Lawrence where he dresses up as the old lady at his Big Mama's house, kind of like a Medea of the neighborhood. That's really what a Mama Dukes or Mom Dukes is. It's kind of, we don't really have them in the Midwest, at least in Chicago. I haven't heard it. But in the hood, there's obviously plenty of kids that don't have the proper upbringing, right, by today's standards. So the children find role models in the hood. And normally they refer to them, at least where I'm from, as Big Mama. It's the house that you can always go to. You know you're safe. You know you can get some food. You know you can get some juice, some Kool-Aid. It's the nanas, the true OGs, right? But their title is kind of denoted in the title of Duke. Originally, Mama or Papa Duke was something that really the youth would kind of come up with in the neighborhood. It was like the older heads in the neighborhood. And again, just a place that you can go to for guidance. You can go to if you needed a last minute sitter. You can go to if you needed some sugar, if you needed a recipe, if you wanted. They were the ones that really held the community together. And if we're being proper, and we want to look at the proper vernacular as they would. Technically, if you're referring to a woman of the same stature, it would be a duchess, right? So it would be like Mama Duchess or Papa Duke. I'm just being technical, but that's the proper way.
Could lead to getting teeth capped or even a reef from armed dudes on some grief crap. I suggest a change of diet. It can lead to high blood pressure if you're fried.
Ooh, it can lead to high blood pressure, right? This beef can be deadly. What does Biggie say? He said, make my name taste like ass when you speak it. Your jewelry, you can keep it, right? Keep my name out your mouth. Like Will Smith, keep my wife name out your motherfucking mouth. Who let these goddamn snakes on this fucking plane? All right, I had to do the snakes on the plane.
To getting teeth capped or even a reef from armed dudes on some grief crap. I suggest a change of diet. It can lead to high blood pressure if you're fried, or even a stroke, heart attack, heart disease. It ain't no starting back once arteries start to squeeze.
Ooh, Daddy's giving a straight info session here. It sounds like he's basically describing different ways that your heart can fail, right? He said stroke, he said a heart attack, he said heart disease. But it's really interesting, he's actually correct. He said there's no starting back once arteries start to squeeze, right? He's basically describing what you're going to go through in a heart attack, or coronary. What is it? It's like a coronary artery spasm. That's when you get the tightening, right? The constriction of the muscles in the wall. That sends blood to the heart. So a spasm is going to reduce or block the blood flow to the heart. And if a spasm lasts long enough, then you're going to continue that chest pain, and you could even have a heart attack. And you'll start to feel it in your arms. So if you start to feel numbness in your arm and you're having chest pain, the best thing you can do is take like baby aspirin as you call 911 and get help. Really, minutes matter, where you can get brain damage, you can go to stroke. There's so many things that can happen, but it's important to take that baby aspirin if you can. Or aspirin, and chew on it while you wait for assistance, and call in if you're getting especially the numbness of the arm. But he's dropping knowledge, like legit dropping knowledge. And there's not a way that you can reverse the blockage of the heart, right? And that's what he said. He said there's no starting back when arteries start to squeeze. And there's no magic formula where you can just melt away the blockage. You just have to eat healthier. So it's sick that he's bringing it back to the beef, and like legit beef too.
I suggest a change of diet. It can lead to high blood pressure if you're fried, or even a stroke, heart attack, heart disease. It ain't no starting back once arteries start to squeeze. Take the easy way out, phony. Until then, they know they wouldn't be talking that baloney in the bullpen.
Talking baloney in the bullpen. He said, take the easy way out, phony, right? Obviously tying in phony with baloney. It sounds stupid, but he's basically saying like, if we were to go face to face in lockup or in a boxing ring, right? If we were in a bullpen, you wouldn't be saying this dumb stuff, right? I'd kick your butt. You're a fake. You're a phony. It's hard to use baloney or reference baloney without talking or giving some information on its origin, right? There was a guy way back in the day. There's a paper. What's the name of the magazine? I want to say it's the Variety, but there was a cat named, they called him Con, but his name was John Conway, and he wrote for a paper. This is like early 1900s, and he wrote in a bunch of slang words, and he really popularized a variety of words. I know he holds if you research what bimbo means, palooka, baloney, right, used in the sense, and there's a lot of, baloney could have possibly been used in New York before him, but he's the one that really popularized it. So it's kind of, when you talk about bologna, there's different types. Obviously, most people probably eat the bologna that consists of the raw, what they call skeletal muscle. It's the meat byproducts, the heart, the kidney, the liver, right? All these parts that you can't really do much with, they blend it together, and that's where they get the formula for bologna. So if you are going to eat bologna, it's probably best to eat beef bologna versus all the other mixtures that are out there, if you would.
Only until then, they know they wouldn't be talking that baloney in the bullpen. So disgusting, pardon self as I discuss it.
It's so disgusting.
They ain't never seen the justice. Bust this like a cold milk from out the toilet.
Yo, back in my younger days, I was actually quite wild. Back in Chicago, I've had my share of time spent in the juvenile detention center, or what we used to refer to as the Audi home. And you pick up a lot of traits, right? But when you want to take a milk carton or extra juice, right, from an earlier trade you did, yo, I got juice for milk, and I got milk for cookie, milk for Jello. Yo, run it. What they're doing is they're trading. Some people can't eat Jello in prison, right? Depending on their religion, gang affiliation, right? So when you take a milk or a juice back to your room, you want to enjoy it later, right? Because you're on these fixed meals. So what do? Well, most people that are locked up, they keep their room extremely clean and organized, right? You have all the time in the world, but it's common to keep the bowl really clean. This is that metal one-piece bowl that has a sink on top and a toilet on the bottom. Well, it's not uncommon you keep your beverages in the toilet, like actually where you drop the deuce, right? But it's clean, and that cold water that's coming in will refrigerate, or it'll do a great job of keeping your juice cold or your milk cold. And that's what he's referring to.
Milk from out the toilet, 2 batteries, some Brillo, and some foil, he'll boil it.
Ooh, yeah, he's talking about some jailhouse remedies, right? You learn a lot of things. So what I used to see is the kids, they'd walk around and they pick up the cigarette butts that the correctional officers will drop. And what they do is they have a whole pocket full of these old cigarette butts, and they roll it, or they're going to drop it. If they don't have any paper, they're going to take the back pages of the Bible. Yes, the Bible. And they roll the tobacco up so they can smoke at night. You might be asking, how do you smoke, right? Well, you don't have lighters. You don't have matches if you're not supposed to smoke in a juvenile facility. So what do? And this is where criminals get really inventive. What you do is you take a pencil, right? And you might want to remember this in case yo ass is ever locked up. You take a pencil or the lead from a pencil and you tie a little piece of tissue paper to it. And what you do is you stick that lead into an outlet. The lead is going to prevent you from being shocked, but the spark is going to spark the toilet paper, and it's going to give you a light, and you could. And that's class today for ghetto terminology and ghetto stuff. We could probably do a whole video on things you could do in the ghetto. Next up, we're going to do making a 5-course meal out of ramen and a biscuit.
Just to talk a wealth of shit and ain't never seen the justice. Bust this like a cold milk from out the toilet. 2 batteries, some Brillo, and some foil, he'll boil it. You'd be better off in PC glued. And it's a feud, so don't be in no TV mood. Every week it's mystery meat, seaweed stewed.
Every week it's mystery meat. Right? We used to say mystery meat Monday.
We need food.
He wears a mask just to cover the raw flesh. A rather ugly brother with flows that's gorgeous.
Well, I've never heard him. This is the 3rd song I think we've done. I don't know if I've ever heard him reference the mask that he's wearing. Right?
Joints hit the whips like bird shit. They need it like a hole in their head or a third tit.
He said they need it like a hole in the head or a third tit. Who else thought of Total Recall? And the chick that had the three titties, right? In the original Total Recall. But the original expression, right? He said they need it like a hole in the head or a third tit. He said it would drop dead. What did he say here? Drop dead joints hit the whips like bird shit. They need it like a hole in the head or a third tit. So the original expression, hole in the head, it's something that we can really trace back to Yiddish, right? This is Yiddish. It's a language used by Jewish people, but before the Holocaust. And the Yiddish have a saying, and they say, I need it like a hole in the head. That's literal translation. I don't speak Yiddish. I can't go into it for you. It wouldn't sound the same, but you could see it a lot in Jewish writing as well. And I think that's where it originates from.
like bird shit. They need it like a hole in their head or a third tit. Her bra smell, his card say, oh hell, barred from
Her
all
bra
bars,
smell?
out the Carvel.
Is that the carnival?
And keep a cheap hooker, that's off the hook.
I think that's a gun, right? He's talking about a cooker. In today's world, at least in Chicago, we call it a burner. So I guess I could see the connection there. But I like what he said. He said kicked out the Carvel. I'm not familiar with that world. I'm thinking carnival. But let's let it read for context.
Kicked out the Carvel. Keep a cooker where the jar fell. And keep a cheap hooker that's off the hook like Marvel.
Ooh. Yo, this is for the old school heads because the young cats are not going to get this reference, right? Long before cell phones, long before cordless phones, the telephone was this bulky instrument that you had to keep on a desk or you had to hang it on a wall. There was only one phone company and you really had only one choice of a color for a phone as well. But when you go back before that, right, before these actual phones, there was no rotary dial service. You picked up the phone and there was an operator on the other end all the time. They would say, number please, and you give the operator the number to be reached, right? It was kind of like, I don't know if it's another old reference, but if any of you guys remember the Andy Griffith show, right? There's no dialing, there's no buttons. You're always going to speak to a woman who's an operator. So way back in the day, you might call a business and their number was legitimately 112, right? A lot of the numbers back in the day were only 2 or 3 digits. And then, as, the 50s and 60s, well, you get numbers that became 4 digits and they have a prefix. So if you were 112, you might have become 4112, right? If you needed help, if you needed directory assistance, you just dialed 0 because the person you got was the operator, right? You could request an address. You can get the correct spelling of a name. You would have to call if you wanted emergency services. That was through an operator. Before call waiting, you would get really what's called a busy signal. I know a lot of you probably don't know the busy signal these days, but you can ask the operator to see if the other phone was off the hook or if it was just busy, like the person was on a call, and the operator could actually interrupt the call to give you the line, almost like an assistant or somebody working for you. So it was just a different world, right? But that's what he's referring to when he talks about Ma Bell. You're talking about somebody actually being able to interfere with the line, and they could tell if the phone was off the hook or interrupt the call. Sick reference.
And keep a cheap hooker that's off the hook like Marvel. Top bleeding, maybe fella took the loaded rod gears. Stop feeding babies colored sugar-coated large squares.
Ooh. Yo, this is like a health. He's giving you a lot of information on the benefits and the benefits of eating or leading a healthy life. It's talking about sugar-coated large squares, which could really be any type of sugary candy that we eat today.
Even when it's rotten, you've gotten through the hard years. I wrote this note around New Year's, off a couple of shots and a few beers. But who cares? Enough about me. It's about the beats, not about the
old school hip hop here.
A rhyming cannibal who's dressed to kill and cynical, whether is it animal, vegetable, or mineral. It's a miracle how he gets so lyrical and proceed to move the crowd like an old Negro spiritual.
Oh, damn. Like a Negro spiritual. God damn.
Tell them devils hell no, say y'all own jello. We hollered krills, she swallowed pills.
What did he say?
Devils hell no, say y'all own jello. We hollered krills, she swallowed pills. He followed flea, collared $3 bills and squilt.
Ooh. He's talking about chasing dumb women, right? She swallowed pills. He followed flea collars, right? These dirty, grimy women. We follow krill. She swallowed pills. He followed flea collar, $3 bills. Yeah, something that doesn't exist. Squill for, and does she squill for halal veal? Halal in Islam is it's something that's sanctioned by Islamic law, right? It can be applied to almost anything, but normally it's used to talk about like dietary restrictions.
She swallowed pills, he followed flea, collared $3 bills and squilt for halalville. A yellow pill, dig the real, is how the big ballers deal. Twirl a L after every meal.
Ooh. Oh no, is that it? No, there's more.
What up? To all rappers, shut up with your shutting up and keep a shirt on, at least a button up. As the rhymers are stripping males, out of work jerks since they shut down Chippendales.
Ooh, Chippendales back in the day was a place for male strippers. So it sounds like he's calling out rappers that got their shirt all open. Like, what are you selling, bro? This is about true rhyme, lyricism, right? It's about true hip hop. We don't need to see how big your arms are, bro.
As the rhymers are stripping males, out of work jerks since they shut down Chippendales. They chipping nails, doom, chipping sales, let alone the pre-orders.
Woo!
Shipping sales.
They're chipping nails, oh biatch.
Skipping bail, dipping jail, whipping tail, and sipping ale.
Ooh, he said that like, these are all for all my people skipping bail. Right, dipping jail, whipping tail, sipping ale. That's sick wordplay.
Out to all my people, skipping bail, dipping jail, whipping tail, and sipping ale. Like the doobie till it glow like a ruby. After which they couldn't find the villain like Scooby. In the lab on some old Buddha monk shit.
It's always a dude that calls them in, right? The Scooby team, Scooby Dooby Doo.
Overproof drunk shit, or who'da thunk it? Punk try and ask why old Buddha monk shit.
Buddha monk shit, isn't this his beat?
They couldn't find the villain like Scooby. He's in the lab on some old Buddha monk shit. Overproof drunk shit, or who'da thunk it? Try and ask why ours be better. Could be the Iron Mask or the Cosby sweater. Yes,
yo.
Who's screwed by the dude on the CD nude?
We need food.
Need more beef. That's it. That was good. I kind of wanted more though, right? It was a good flow. It had a classic hip hop beat. It could have went another couple minutes for me. I was definitely feeling that. I'm just still getting used to his rhyme, and it's not as complex or dense as Aesop Rock, where you're really thinking of where he's referencing. Like we just did Coffee with Aesop Rock, and I talked about materialism, consumerism, classism, right? And it's like it gets deep. This wasn't as deep, but it doesn't mean it wasn't as lyrical, because I didn't really spend too much time on it. It was my first time listening, but it seemed like his rhyme scheme was off. And I'm sure if we got into how technical it was, it almost seemed like he was rapping every second or third word, right? If you just like, and I guess that's what this, let me move this back here. You know, when I'm looking at this,
mood. Every week is
like,
mystery meat, seaweed stew.
Like his flow, he's not connecting the same as, it's not just your simple setup with basic metaphors and tying in the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme itself seems to be different. And I don't know how to technically describe it. I'm sure once we go through it, listen to it, run it backwards and forwards, I'll be able to go more in depth on it. But this has been a great introduction to MF Doom. I'm definitely excited to get into more of his work and just learn a bit more about his rhyme style as well. I remember when I first got into Aesop Rock, I was like, what did he just say? And then it's like you understand how he approaches the song. And then it's like, okay, let me run that back. Let me try to catch what he's saying. Because if you don't catch it here, you're not going to catch it there. So it's important that we understand the context, understand where he's coming from. He might be referencing things from other albums or other songs. So this is just another one for our MF Doom folder. If you guys are fans of MF Doom, we have a folder with, this is now the third breakdown that we've done. And we try to go in depth, right? I always say if you're just here to listen to the song, it's probably not the best place for you. Now, we pause it, we rewind, we go. There's no gimmicks, there's no lightning bolts and intros. No, we're getting right into the lyrics. If you guys are fans, check out the other folders that we have with Toby Wigway, Marlon Craft, J. Cole, Nas, a bunch of, maybe your favorite artists' favorite artists. We get a little old school here, and we've been having some fun with it. So send me your suggestions. Let me know if you like the breakdown and what we should check out next.